Simple at all. Thank God.
I've stuck it out on the RM channel now, so I'll say good evening, everyone. So we're just having just a ramble. Anyone wants to join us?
Yeah,
give
I
us a
just
shout.
remembered. I sent this link out to some people, but if it gets porn bombed, it gets porn bombed or whatever. But
Let's not go there.
I can control that. We're doing through OBS, so I've got me, Sad, and with me I've got Dan, and I've also got
Hello.
Arwin as well. So say hello, guys.
hello,
Good evening.
getting out on 2 channels.
It's Sunday evening, the 7th of October, a
It's no
little
globe
past
busters.
10 in the Netherlands and a little past 9 in England, right?
People are bored. There's no globe busters.
All right.
Yeah.
Indeed.
So are you live on IRL Media channel right now?
Yeah, I think yeah, we've gone live now. It's gone.
Jeez.
So, Adam, what is on your mind?
Oh, I don't know. We were just chatting, weren't we? Because I know you guys have had a bit of, as we were saying earlier, I rang up on Nathan's show and there's been a bit of gravity chat. And honestly, for me, mate, it was, as I said on Friday's show, and to you guys, I know it's turning into you versus Riley, but actually the crux of it and the thing that's interesting me is actually the debate around this. And whilst you sit on one camp very solid in your opinion, and Mark Dox is the same, and Riley sits the other place, and I think there are a few of us that don't have the certainty. So I find it a really interesting debate, mate. And
I don't know if now, for me personally, to say that other people are really literally on my side is even an assumption bit too far. By the way, we're joined by somebody with that
What? Oh,
channel.
hello? Channel Q.
What's up?
What's up, Channel Q?
What's up?
We're
Hi.
just chilling because there's no globe busters on, so we're just talking.
Oh, what happened to Glowbusters?
Today Bob's doing something. I
But-
don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Right. Yeah. To continue,
Honestly,
what
I didn't know Glowbusters was still a thing, so.
Huh?
I didn't think Glowbusters was still a thing because they had that 24/7 live channel. I thought that's all they did now.
No, they still do Sunday shows, but not always. I don't know.
How you doing, Arwen?
Doing great.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little tense, but yeah, doing great. Very confident, strong, healthy. Thank God. And it can be very different during this time period for me.
Like,
This
what do you mean,
time
like
period.
I haven't
winter?
been sick or anything. People are like coughing all over the place over me. I'm like,
Yeah, like Nathan,
I
dude. He's
can't
been like
touch
sick for like a year now.
Nathan's in
Right.
chat, by the way. Shout out to Nathan Oakley.
it's hilarious because.
Oh,
like,
this is live?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Oh, is this your show, Arwen?
No, it's
It's
just,
just on my channel, but
Oh, it's on your channel. Okay, good.
it's on Dance and on
Just have to
IRL
know
Media.
whose party I'm crashing.
we got a few out there. I've got a few in chat as well. Zach, evening, dude. Good times for all. Got Sky Dome and Ryan Q, Vincent. Shout out, guys. Bruno, and got Sandra P1000 out there. So evening, guys. I've stuck a link if anyone wants to jump in and just shoot the shit with us.
yeah, we're going to talk about eggs.
Talk about eggs.
Ah, shove 'em.
We're talking about eggs.
What about eggs?
How they can float.
Can they?
They can float in water and stuff.
Like if they're boiled or some shit?
Yeah, I think do you have to boil them first? Well, no, I think they're just natural.
I think if it's salt water, sure. Like you can get like a lot of shit to suspend if there's enough salt in the water, right? If it's
Yep.
thick, salty water.
By the way, this
Like
is
the
quite
Pacific
risky.
Ocean.
Well, the Pacific Ocean, I don't think it's that high in salt content. That
there should be a
Weights would
region
float
there
in the
that is
center of
really
it.
high, I thought, where people actually float very easily
This is
compared to the
risky,
other
by the way.
oceans.
By the way, guys, I've sent this link out to like some Discord channels.
Oh
And
Jesus!
Yeah, that's how I got it.
I don't know if there's going to be like any porn bombers or anything, so
Oh,
we have to be
God.
careful. I
Right.
think this is dangerous. Maybe we should. I don't want to get Iron Realm Media's channel banned or something.
Yeah, maybe you should go and like erase all your links that you've shared then, dude. You should have thought of that
Yeah.
before now.
Let me go and delete the
What
links.
are you, noob?
I'm pretty sure the only channel that is at risk here is yours, Dan.
Okay. Well, I'm not too bothered. I'll just delete the link.
Right.
I'm good for porn in many ways.
I'd rather not.
If the strikers, mate, it's not what I'm streaming anyway. I've got separate images to stream, so all we get is a lot of heavy panting. So as long as your channel's good, we're fine. Don't worry.
Just put it so nobody else shows. That way, if somebody joins, you might hear it, but you won't see it for sure. Just put a picture and screen share it permanently.
Yeah, or present yourself. You can do that.
And then that way, even if somebody does come in here, because I think just hearing it wouldn't be as bad as if it was shown.
Oh no. It's all about the images.
So, Arwen, are you gonna figure out what this downward force is, or have you dropped the subject altogether?
Never. No.
You're not gonna let it go.
No, of course not.
Well, I am. I'm not encouraging you to,
forced.
and I don't blame you. But I wonder how are you gonna make your case?
Oh, I have. Haven't you followed the debates? The
No,
last few?
probably not as well as you would like me to, but like I followed it well enough to know that there's a bit of contention between you and other people on the panel over this downward force issue.
Oh, yeah, that's very obvious. That's not really what it's about for me. I'm just dealing with the material and the forces present and how to trace them back and trace its origin, basically. And yeah, then I see density and buoyancy. All these are buoyancy mostly is an effect. It is an effect that includes displacement. That doesn't explain as to the forces being subjected to the entire body because there is motion. So there must be a force subjected, whether it be triggered by like a density displacement within the body or not. There is force present because motion can be engaged with. It's not literally motion energy coming from anything added, as it were. It just causes a shift in how the force is subjected, or how the matter is subjected to the forces that are already there. Otherwise, there would be no displacement. As in a free dive experiment is a free dive setup, you could prove like there is no buoyancy effect. The forces are countered. Yeah, a helium balloon will be very happily sitting inside of a ball of water and will have no tendency to go in any direction, and neither will the water, as long as there's no external force being applied by mechanical introduction by a hand or whatever. It's just going to sit there for as long as the dive continues at the right speed and angle and everything. So yeah, that's my angle to that.
Yeah, I think I heard a little bit where you and Anthony were having an argument where he was saying if he stood on his head and watched a balloon go, which direction would it go? And I just...
It's just directional.
That's a marvel, really. It's something to be marveled at, that this guy's like, if I stand on my head, the direction of the balloon's not changing just because you're standing on your head.
It's a verbal thing. He just says that to mix up the interpretation of direction, and he's basically by default referring, whenever somebody says direction, to personal direction. and that's completely irrelevant to the
like it's subjective or something. So your problem is that because like I say the same thing. There has to be something that's causing things to either go up or down and not left or right or in a spiral, or you know what I mean?
horizontal.
Because things definitely drop, and when things don't drop, they rise. So there's something doing that to
or
things.
they stay level.
Yeah, they can stay level if they find equilibrium. Sure.
Right. Yeah, the alignment is set, and when other forces are applied to a body of mass that has that alignment, then suddenly the alignment will shift. And it can be negated. And then there is no more density and buoyancy. That is no longer relevant. Because the forces applied to all the matter in such scenario are neutralized. So there is no more force disequilibrium forcing the alignment of the density layers.
Hello?
It's Adam.
Well, it's good. It's good that you're sticking with your conviction, and I think that it's definitely some, I mean, I'm not a flat earther, so obviously I think there's something to gravity, but I think, just the debate itself, they haven't given you very much in terms of an argument for what you're saying. Anthony, anyways, with his standing on his head for a balloon.
Yeah. Well, he does a little bit more than that. What I basically caught him doing, he's not like openly chanting it, but he basically, when you push him, he will say it, and that is that, yeah, the force, if it must come from somewhere, and it does, it's conservation of energy. It's also one of these laws that they love to refer to. Then, oh wait, I think Adam is talking somebody else on offline. Anyway, got mixed. What's he talking about? Oh, yeah, energy of conservation. Laws of energy conservation, yes. So if there is motion coming from something, then there is something that is coming from that is also motion, or could be chemical stored energy that would be translating into motion. And that's just the law of forces. That's just how it works. So yeah, where does the motion actually come in? That's the trick.
So you're going to try to figure out how to explain that on a flat Earth then by yourself?
That's very easy. It's already been done.
Right.
It's called the upwards acceleration effect, and the Flat Earth Society claims that it is literal, which is kind of weird, and they have no proof for it.
You think that the flat Earth is in a constant upward motion?
Well, they say that is literally the case, and that is just weird because it's not, obviously.
Well, don't you think the stars would kind of reveal that to us? Like if the stars are stationary around us and this flat plane is moving, accelerating upward, wouldn't the stars be like trailing down around us everywhere?
It all depends on what you assume the stars are. And we don't assume they are anything physical.
Just light.
A holographic display that just happens to be here for some mysterious reason at the edge of all observation, of all observers' vision, even with cameras and everything.
Okay, well, can I ask you another question? Do you not think that an constant upward accelerating force would be a greater force than what people say gravity is, and it would actually make it harder for us to like jump or move because that force would be pushing us flat to the surface all the time?
No. That's not necessary. It all depends on the nature of the acceleration. Acceleration is the condition, because that is what increases the force disequilibrium keeps. But does it mean that it has to be like really fast acceleration? As long as the speed.
Well, it has to be at least as fast as the free fall, right? So it has to be, what is that?
Free fall is not the source
per second, like something, I don't know the actual formula, but wouldn't it have to be at least equal to free fall then? So like whatever you drop an object at free fall would have to be what the Earth is accelerating up at all the time?
No. Because free fall is eventually a constant, and the acceleration has to be cumulative. It has to keep increasing the speed.
So we keep going faster and faster, but the force of gravity doesn't get any, but the force of it doesn't get any worse. So I don't just constantly keep weighing more and more.
No, but that's not how force that's not how force and pressure are.
Well, like if it was
created.
constantly moving upward and it was constantly getting faster, I would constantly be getting heavier and it would be getting harder and harder for me to move because it's a force that's acting against me, forcing me down towards the surface of the earth.
Incorrect. If you are in a car and you drive at a constant speed, you feel no pressure.
Yeah, but when it
front
accelerates,
whatsoever.
you do. When
Yeah,
you're traveling at a
that's right,
constant
but-
speed and you don't slow down and you don't speed up, you don't feel any change in momentum, correct? But the moment you start speeding up or continuously accelerating, you start feeling yourself being pushed towards the back of the car.
All depends on the
It's
acceleration
called like
rate.
G-force or something like an airplane
Are
and
you?
stuff.
Can I please respond?
I'm sorry, I wasn't.
It all
quite done with
depends
my
on your.
sentence.
It all depends on your acceleration rate. So if
Well,
you're
that's what I'm trying to
going-
determine.
No, there's a difference there, guys. You're discussing it at different points. Constant speed is one thing, and if maintained in a completely linear fashion, you wouldn't experience anything. It would be relative. But acceleration, no matter how small it is experienceable.
Exactly. It exerts force. So the acceleration, the speed increase per time interval has to be at a constant rate in order to exert the exact same amount of force to the material body, in this case, the Earth. So it doesn't have to be accelerating really fast. It just has to accelerate at a constant climb, at a constant rate.
Yeah, but then when I said it's that constant rate, wouldn't that be the same as terminal velocity?
No, because terminal velocity is stable. It's a stable speed.
Yeah, terminal velocity is one of those things that, again, kind of disproves a downward force for me, because it's a balanced terminal velocity between the downward acceleration, which is a constantly increasingly applied force, against the air drag, the viscosity of the air that you're pulling through. And if this force is constantly increasing, then a terminal velocity does seem an improbability, that it would seem that you would always increase, no matter how minutely, that you would expect an increase always.
Well, in a vacuum, you would, yes. But with air resistance, eventually the air resistance becomes in balance with the motion. And that's why it stays at a constant speed.
Like I say, it just seems mathematically that seems an improbability, solely due to the viscosity of the air and the so-called terminal velocity speed. The two don't seem, and I'm only winging it here while Arwin here, you know what I mean? But the two don't seem, the speed doesn't seem sufficient enough to level out with the viscosity of the air. So I could well be wrong, but it just doesn't sit right with me, that one.
But from what I understand, but from what I've learned is that terminal velocity is where the air resistance against the falling object becomes in a force equilibrium with the actual motion and thus causes a stable trajectory and no longer an increase in acceleration because the air resistance has become great enough to meet the force exerted on the object by its weight, as it were. That so it balances out. Force equilibrium is about constant. It is about a constant always. When there's a force equilibrium, there's either a constant motion or a constant sit. There's never acceleration. When there's acceleration taking place in form of motion, then there is always force applied to the matter involved. That is fact.
Hugh, how do you see this thing? I know you're discussing it with Arwin. What do you see it as? Because for me, there isn't a right or wrong answer at the moment. It's where's the best place to explore? I mean, I think mine and Arwin's different positions would suggest different places to be the best place to explore. So where do you kind of sit?
Sit with what?
Sit
Flat Earth?
within the debate, as in her position.
I'm back.
was just asking you, I think our positions are fairly clear, both mine and Arwen's, do you know what I mean, in terms of neither of us admit to understand it, but we have different routes of origin as to what the causation is. And I know you're questioning Arwen, I just wondered how you are kind of imagining causation.
For what?
Well,
For what?
I hate to use the word up and down because I've been told off by Quantum. But I think for most, for rather than kind of taking the debate sideways into the semantics of up and down on that, if we accept towards the ground or whatever with regards to how do you envisage the mechanics, the understanding of up and down, or
The alignment.
Alignment, what we loosely describe as the ball is described as gravity.
Well, gravity is, the act of mass attracting mass. So the center of the Earth has a large, dense area of mass that's attracting all of the other mass within a certain range of the Earth to it and keeping it, all locked in this kind of like spherical object inside outer space, I suppose.
No, I'm saying...
And I'm not sure what your question is.
Yeah, sorry, I was going to say, I'm not asking you to explain their bullshit. Like me and Arwen are probably...
She's a baller, right? You know that, right?
No. Well, that's obvious then. We've all been ballers. I don't need ball.
No, but she is right now. She just said that.
Yeah, I'm not a flat earther.
Okay, sorry. So would you see it then as a mass, as a Newtonian concept?
Well, when we're talking about the way that gravity is interacting and mass is interacting with mass within this planet, yes, that's Newtonian gravity.
So the ordering in, and therefore the direction of something which is more dense downwards is due to the differential of forces of Newtonian gravitational forces. It's that differential that creates the ordering.
Well, I'm not sure what you mean by differential, but yeah,
as in heavier stuff.
The more mass something has, the more potential gravity it has. So you're not just talking about, it's Earth's gravity, and then other mass that's around Earth has gravity also. So it's not just the gravity of the Earth. Everything's pulling towards each other too. It just so happens that, we stand on the Earth feet first and not head first, I guess.
But you would argue this sideways attraction is so small compared to the mass of the Earth that it's not measurable, I'd assume.
Well, there's no gravity that moves things sideways. I mean, you can get a force of wind, or you can push something with a lever, or a train, or an engine. But
if you follow the logic, then any direct alignment of mass will create gravity. It doesn't require the center of mass of the Earth to be a directional line of mass.
We'll see. That's the thing. If you're standing on the Earth, the direction is going to be down towards the Earth, towards the center of mass of the Earth.
Yeah, its directional gravity is so great.
But if you're talking like in the case of the Cavendish, where you're going to attract balls to balls, that's balls being attracted to balls, so they're being attracted to the center of each other. So yeah, you might get a left and a right attraction there because you're attracting balls to the center of balls. But when you're talking about putting things in like a distillery and having them separate according to their densities, then you're always going to get it layering top to bottom because you're on the Earth and gravity is pulling everything towards the center of the Earth.
Yeah. Well, that's
we tried Cavendish. It didn't work.
Okay.
Well, Cavendish supposes forces between the two balls. Ordering in density, in terms of the ball model, is just the differential forces based on the relative density acting on those different bodies from the Earth. So That's why Cavendish is, and that's why I was saying it can be in a sideways direction. Cavendish is supposedly sideways. It's not
That's
in the
only
same-
because the ball is to the side,
Yeah,
because the two balls
exactly.
are side by side.
Yeah.
So you're going to get the side by side attraction because the balls are side by side. But when you're talking about putting an egg in salt water while you're standing on the earth and the earth is below your feet, you're going to get up and down.
The point I'd make in terms of the Cavendish is they did well in terms of if you suppose the theology of the experiment's fine, they did well in screening it from other influences. But as I say, an alignment of mass in any one direction, any one linear line. So if you draw a line between those two centre of masses, between those two balls, well, that line extends not just between the two centre of masses, but outwards as well. So if there was a mountain on one side of that line, that would have an effect, according to Cavendish, if there wasn't a mountain on the other side of the ball. That would. These are factors in Cavendish that skew the results so much.
Are you trying to say the mountain has a center of mass that should have gravity that's attracting other mountains?
I'm saying there is mass aligned up within it, and all that would interject with it. Sorry about that. I was peeping. And it's the balls are so small that the residing mass around it in the world is so much that the error within that just negates Cavendish as an experiment. Outside of it not being, all of Nathan's, it's not an experiment stuff. The errors within it just negate it being of any use, whether you're ball or flat. For me, it always was a nonsense experiment. When I was a kid, and we did it at A-level physics, I always remember the teachers saying, "Don't worry about this one." We were doing the dropping a.
Well,
a
your
ball
teachers
bearing.
didn't do you. They didn't do you a favor telling you to.
Well,
They shortchanged you then.
Well, they were qualified PhD physicists telling me.
Well, it
"Don't
doesn't
worry,
mean that
don't
they're going to
worry."
be good at their job.
No, I think the point I'm making wasn't to decry them. They were just saying this experiment never works, and that is actually, I think, honestly accepted across academia. It isn't an experiment that works very well. It should, but it doesn't. And like I said, I always remember being told by my teachers back then, "Don't worry about this one."
Well, have you done it since your teacher can't control you now? Can you?
No.
Have you tried since?
Not since I had the high quality physics grade equipment have I attempted that. I think it's you see some of these vids of people doing it with, kitchen equipment, and it's daft because you do need the high quality torsion bars and the light.
Yeah, well, you can buy a Cavendish experiment on Amazon. The teacher quality, it's like $120.
Have you done it? And did it work?
No, I haven't done it myself, but
No.
I'm just saying.
No, that's what I'm saying. I've tried to do it in physics labs, all of us, and very rarely do you get results that match what you're supposed to get. I was saying, when you start in this stuff, you do all of the basic physics experiments and the dropping the ball bearing and measuring the 9.8, and all of those work out. And the only point I was making there was I always remember, even before I was a flat earther, that my teachers telling me, "Don't worry about this experiment, it never works," which was always something that back then stuck in my head as a.
Well, I feel like your teachers didn't do you a favor by telling you that. I feel like they gave you some misinformation and they robbed you of an experience that would be useful to you now.
No, I'd go to Nottingham University.
Even if it didn't work, for you to, instead of just having to take her word or his word for that and having to see it for yourself not working, would have been much more beneficial to you than what you have.
It doesn't work. It's such a nonsense.
Well, I'm certain that it does work.
Okay. Well, I can only go on what I did as opposed to. You know what I mean? I can only go on what I did. I attempted the experiment. The results weren't in any way coherent, if I'm being honest, but it was nearly 30 years ago. So. But the point was, it was something I remember even then that and I know you're decrying the teachers, but if you look at these it's something I've looked up since, and I've always watched Nottingham Uni. I'm from Nottingham, so I watch their stuff, and there's the physics department there do a lot of YouTube videos, and they just one sec, Nate. Excuse me. Even there, from physics departments at the universities trying to replicate it, they admit it is a almost impossible thing to do, which to me scientifically questions its validity.
Well, I don't know. Maybe your teacher just had a hard time replicating that particular experiment. Maybe she wasn't as patient. I think it takes a lot of time and patience to do that experiment. I think if you use the larger, and I know everybody's gonna love this, the larger the balls that you use, I think the quicker the result you're going to get and the more obvious of a result you're going to get. So if you're just using a mini experimental setup where you've got some small, it could take probably hours and you might not see much of a change. So I think that might be part of it. And maybe your teacher she just didn't had the patience to, go through all the steps and set it all up and then deal with the students to have the patience to wait for the results and everything. So maybe that's why she kind of just threw it off, and said it doesn't work because she can't get it to work.
So it only works when you're successful, when you actually accomplish it, and otherwise
I'm not trying to say that. I'm just saying that I feel like his teacher didn't do him a service by not at least allowing him to see for himself that the experiment did or did not work.
By the way, people, shout out to Ace McLeod in the chat. And he wants you to say part and parcel.
Yeah, I know. I saw him saying that. I don't know what's wrong with that dude. I will say though, Cat Earth, don't message me on Discord if you want to come talk shit to me. I'm sure Dan won't mind.
Cat Earth, get him in here.
He's listening. He's listening to me in the chat and he's talking shit to me for being here speaking to you guys. And I said, he doesn't have to send me messages on Discord talking shit. He could just come in here and talk shit to me then.
Yeah, get Cat Earth in. Alex is always welcome.
Really?
I started the Iron Realm 24/7 channel, and it's kind of working. I'm not saying it is. Iron Realm Media 24/7 if you want to subscribe. And actually, Alex was on there. It was him and I think it was Timmy Osmond about a year or so ago. It was back when we was using Hangouts. They hacked in and were just trying to take over. Yeah. I think manners are an important thing, and if they're giving you shit cue for talking to
I'm not a perfect human being, and I don't always have manners, but I'm just he's messaging me, so I'm just teasing him a bit.
Mine can slip a bit sometimes. I think that's to err is human.
I don't know. It's just Ace McLeod. That's what he does.
No, we're not talking about Ace. Ace is fine. I'm talking about Cat Earth. I'll be right back though because he's at my door.
Yeah, it's good that Channel Q came in. I mean, everyone's welcome. Can just say what they like. I mean, ballers or flat earthers, it doesn't matter to me. But we all know it's flat. At the end of the day, where's the curvature?
It should be the one easy demonstrable thing. We get back to that Cavendish though, Dan. I mean, for me, it's he was saying there basically. You're not doing it right. If it means that 98% of the time that you do an experiment, it doesn't give the correct results, and only 2% of the time it does, you have to question whether that's just statistically a complete random thing which is exposed to more variables than are accommodated for within the experiment, and that's why 2% of the time it matches up to what you're predicting. To me, like I said, I wouldn't slag my teachers off. Do you know what I mean? And I wouldn't slag off the academia that I've questioned about it as well. It's not an experiment that is validatable as if you bother to go and look at it. But
Yeah, it doesn't seem right if it only worked 2% of the time. Whatever
It doesn't fall in the category repeatable. It's just no. If it's not gonna yield the right result, then then it's proven not to work. But that's basically it.
But isn't it based on something that's been scientifically disproven anyway?
Oh, you mean R?
Oh no, on mass attracting mass.
Oh, that. Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. I thought we were talking about Cavendish.
Yeah. So within that,
It doesn't work. There's when you try the setup, and we even had one of these guys on the show at the debates, and he did it, and it didn't work. Actually, went the other way. So, and he showed it. He showed his setup, and it looked very solid to me. It was literally a heavy weight balancing very carefully. Like you could blow to against it, and it would move slightly. So, yeah, it didn't yield the
Say-
expected results.
Say I'm in a nightclub and like I'm quite a big, heavy guy, quite a lot of mass. Am I going to attract a lot of women to me because of my mass? Or are they in fact going to be repulsed and move the opposite direction? Or are they going to like absorb onto me?
depends. Do you sweat a lot for a big guy?
Probably no. No, I don't.
You've got a chance.
Links. I've got links.
You're sorted then.
Yeah. Maybe. I don't know. Mass attracting mass. It's just crazy. I don't see it. I just don't see it in the natural world. I don't see like things moving against each other.
I do, but only in two directions.
Yeah, see, you guys are perfectly understanding of balls attracting balls. Look at that in the chat.
Balls, yeah. I mean,
Balls definitely attract other balls.
I disagree.
depends.
I'm not
Depends.
gay.
Yeah, if you're gay, then balls attract balls, but somehow.
Not just even on myself. They're not the same height. They're not even level. So
So man's testicle disprove Cavendish.
well, if we're gonna get innuendo,
I don't know about that.
What if you just got a smooth
I
surface?
don't know if I'd go that far.
nothing wrong with shaving, Dan.
I mean, if you got literally nothing, it's like a Ken doll. It's just nothing there.
Are you talking about your balls?
If
No,
it's just nothing there, if there's like nothing there, if it's just literally like just a plastic, like a Barbie doll or whatever, there's no way like nothing. You still wouldn't get attracted by mass. I've never
Indeed.
seen anything move against another object.
Well, not by anything other than static electricity or the magnetism if the matter is susceptible to it.
Yeah. Is there any other alternatives to the Cavendish experiment? Is there any other people out there that have
Well,
done
there's an experiment where a guy hangs a weighted pyramid on a scale, and then he pulls and brings a lead ball underneath it, and all of a sudden the pyramid weighs more. And it's not caused by magnetism because the pyramid isn't drawn, it doesn't move towards the ball. It just weighs more because the mass is being added to by the mass that was placed underneath it. I believe P. Mars tried to show you a video on it on the debate show.
A pyramid, you say?
Yeah,
How
it was a shape.
suspicious.
Yeah, it's a shape, Arwen.
Could be something inside of it.
Symmetrical
perhaps?
shape.
Not
It
a
has
ball,
nothing to
though.
do with devil worshippers. It's just a shape.
No, not talking about that. I'm just saying it might just be a little signal right there, like wink, wink. It's not
So
real.
do you have to have a pyramid on the top, or just some other shape.
You could probably have any shape you want to. I think the guy just used weighted pyramids, like a sinker, like a for fishing or whatever, same kind of thing, like a weight. I'm sure you could use anything like that, like a sinker for fishing, and you just hang it from a hook, not or a chain or anything you want, really, because it's not. If you want to prove it's not magnetism, I would say hang it from a chain, and then that way you can see that it doesn't move. It was magnetism. If the two things were attracted to each other through magnetism, the chain would have to extend towards, extend the sinker towards the ball. But because it's just, you're just putting like a bowling ball underneath a sinker, and then suddenly the sinker weighs more. It's showing you that the mass is attracting, it's causing more of a pull between the two objects and causing it to weigh more.
Right. Well, I know how to falsify this.
That's just mathematical nonsense, mate.
It's not, because
you can't
scale.
Hold on.
Math. I didn't do any math. All I did was use the scale and read it.
Hold on. You're suggesting that the ball... Please, you're suggesting that the ball should be magnetic, but what if it's not?
Nothing's
what if
magnetic.
There's just a magnet inside of that freaking pyramid?
No, nothing's magnetic, and the way I'm saying you can tell that it's not magnetic is because the two objects physically do not move towards each other, and when there's magnetism involved, the two objects are physically attracted towards each other. It's not just that when you bring one closer to the other, one begins to weigh more.
That depends on the distance to the magnet and its strength.
No, that's just a false assumption. Just because you say it's not magnetism doesn't mean it's something else. You can't use the magnet
to increase the weight of something.
If they prevented it from moving towards the actual object, yeah, it will still have that pull, even though very slight, unless it's like really close to the actual magnet, and then would be much harder to camouflage that it's even there. But that can be tricked. As long as you hide a magnet somewhere at the right distance, you can trick that.
But why would somebody do that, Arwen? I mean...
Because they want to prove gravity without actually proving gravity.
Yeah, why would they want to do that?
Because they want to.
It seems like an awful lot of trouble to go through.
Because I know, but a lot of money is involved.
Thinking there's gravity when there's not. No, actually, I think people would lose a lot of money trying to fake gravity.
No, they wouldn't.
Trying to cover up
giant budget
that there isn't gravity when they're flying planes and doing all this crazy stuff, dude. I really do think it would cost a lot more money to lie about gravity.
Yeah, where are they getting that money from doing all that?
Money's not even real, dude. They just make that shit up. That's what you ought to be talking about.
Right. So they get all this opportunity, all this money, all these resources to do it.
Gravity is real.
And then you're asking where...
on the other hand, is a human construct.
Why are they doing this? Well, they're obviously getting funded to do that. So why would they be doing that?
Sure,
because they're getting funds. That's why.
I don't think so, Arwen, because I think it would cost a lot more money to cover it up and lie about it and invent things that deceive everybody and hide magnets and do all this shit than it would to just accept the fact that gravity is real.
I disagree.
Or not real.
I disagree. It's the highest budget in the world, in world history.
I doubt it. I'm
really?
sure we spent a lot.
So you deny that NASA has the highest budget in the world?
Yeah, I do. I'm sure that my country spends a lot more money on war.
Good. Well, it's statistically, judicially proven to be the fact, actually.
Okay. All right. Calm down, Arwen. Calm down.
Just saying.
We don't agree.
You don't agree with facts? That's good. It's good.
No, I don't. I think my country spends more money on war than it does on NASA.
Oh, absolutely. But it does spend a freaking hell of a lot of money on NASA.
Well, then that's not the highest budget in the world, as you said, and then went fact and got all dramatic, dude. I understand.
Well, because the military is not, it's a government organization. It's not a company.
Ace McCloud.
Oh, hey, Ace.
Hey, Ace.
Shout out to Ace.
Shout out to Ace McCloud.
Evening, Ace.
Hi.
What's your opinion on their military budget?
It's not high enough because we're obviously still in the middle of wars, so we need, to get out of the war. So I guess we need to spend more money. I don't know. How does that work?
We could do less war.
I don't know. I'm not a politician.
It's ridiculous. The more you spend on it, the more they will be inclined to create war.
Right. Kind of like global warming funding.
Yeah. But even this happens in a small scale. like in Europe and in the Netherlands, there is like separate companies that bid to maintain the roads and everything. But they have to they work budget wise, so they just waste a lot of time to meet the budget standards in order to get like the biggest amount of money.
Yeah,
That's
it's
just
usually
one
because if they
company.
don't,
That's just one company. So just
usually it
imagine
goes like that because it's like,
on the big
especially if they're
scale.
given grants, if they don't use the whole grant, then the government will say they don't need that much money. So
Exactly.
they won't give them as much money the next year. So they have to spend it all, even if they don't need it, even if they have to do it frivolously. And I don't know what's wrong with the human race, why we do things like that and think it's okay, but we do.
It's because of the system. It's because of the corporate system. And yeah, that's the military, the US military is operating like a giant corporation, basically. And they are making their own market,
But you
which
don't live
is
in the
war.
US, do you, Arwen?
Yeah, but we're safe.
Do you live in the US, Arwen?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Ace, what's your opinion on the Cavendish experiment, mass attracting mass?
Well, your
About it.
balls
It's
attracted to
great. I
balls.
love it.
Do you look? I mean, you've got opinions about it before. I'm sure you have. What do you think? Do you think it's bullshit, or do you think it's real?
I don't. I just wonder why you're talking about it. Like, what are you trying to get at?
That
I just
it's-
tuned in, so.
Oh, I think we were
So-
talking about it because Arwen's got his downward force, conceptual theory, whatever he calls it, and then it's a contention on the debate. So
I just look at dielectric acceleration. I think everything's a form of magnetism with the ether. So, and gravity is also one of these things, just like light and magnetism.
so you think gravity exists?
Yes, I do. Of course it does. Why wouldn't it? There's an up and a down, isn't there?
That's good to hear.
Well said. Well said.
Up and down doesn't imply an induction of force. It just implies a direction.
No, I know it doesn't. It implies an acceleration, and that's all we can measure. And that's all I'm saying that there is. It's
To
just
me,
dielectric acceleration.
it defines a direction of ordering.
True.
Anything more.
That's what we see.
Yeah. As for the causation of that direction of ordering, I don't know, and that's honestly why I'm open to all discussions. I do struggle with mass attracting mass as the causation.
Oh, me too. Yeah, it's very struggly for sure.
Like that word.
Quite.
Quite struggly.
So you guys are flat earthers, and are there certain like flat earth people that you don't agree with?
Whoa, what's with the name calling?
Oh, well,
Flat earther, jeez.
If you
don't
don't
like that,
know.
I'm sorry. I don't want to offend anybody. I'm just saying.
We're offended. Oh,
Are there certain?
No, it's hilarious because you apparently have no idea how much infighting flat Earth is.
Okay, here's the deal. So most flat earthers are ignorant and just jump on bandwagons, and they have no idea what they're talking about, and they say stupid things, and some of them might be plants just to make the whole thing look stupid, honestly.
Like who?
God, most of them getting public attention that say stupid things, but
I don't think you need to say most flat earthers. I think in all walks of life, most people
of
say
course,
stupid things.
yeah, that's called stereotyping or generalizing. I mean, you don't do it with
But we're
racial groups, you know.
Speaking about flat Earth, like
The thing is, there's like millions of flat earthers, so of course there's going to be all kinds of different people. You know, it's,
Really?
if it was like a super fringe, yeah, there's a lot of fucking flat earthers. Just try this. Go out on your street and just ask people, have you heard
I
about flat
have.
earth?
I have
Do it
actually.
within 1 minute. You'll have
Actually-
people, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I have not actually, and I actually own a photo or painting shirt, and I have worn it, and I have addressed the
Oh
subject.
Jesus. That is quite a shirt, man. I've only worn it in public one time. And you get people, they stop and they like read it to themselves, but kind of like out loud. It's the weirdest thing.
For me, I actually had to point it out to people for them to even notice that it was anything that was any different than any other shirt. They just didn't even seem to realize that there was some, quiz or philosophical mind-blowing statement on it or whatever, I guess you could call it.
They've
But
probably seen it before in religious iconography.
Well, no, because it says photo or painting, and then it has the picture of the globe, But I think most people just kind of looked at it and didn't really absorb it. And then, I had to kind of point it out and be like, "Oh, I saw you were checking out my shirt. What do you think?" And then they go, "Well, what do you mean? What do I think of your shirt? It's cool looking." Then they go, "Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah,
I see.
they do check it out, but they don't actually think about it. You're right. But
they don't absorb it. And then when
weird.
they do absorb it, they kind of just give you a weird look and walk away.
Yeah, so I wore it to work one day, and I don't work there anymore, but I went to a poker game with all these people afterwards, and then this one dude's like, "So we're out smoking." And I was like, "I noticed your shirt, blah blah blah." He's like, "What are you, like a flat earther or something?" I was like, "What? A what earther?" And then he goes on to like tell about flat earthers and like what they believe, and he was actually making some good points, but he wasn't a flat earther. He was like kind of ridiculing him. I was like, "Dude, this is the picture of the Apollo moon mission supposedly took when they went to the moon." It's like, "Do you actually believe we went to the moon?" He's like, "No." I was like, "Oh, okay. So yeah. So do you think the picture's a photo or a painting?" I was like, "Oh, dude, I'm not getting into this shit because I got to work with these people." I was like, "No."
Yeah, I just kind of wore it ironically just to see how people would respond to it and to see, to see how many people actually would have this issue with thinking that maybe it's not a real, maybe the earth is flat, maybe these things are lies, because I find it interesting that people would think this way, that people do, that the earth is flat or that we didn't go to the moon. I mean,
you say you've only worn the shirt once, Ace, was it?
Yeah, literally in public once.
Did you just like hide it in the closet after?
No, I won it from a piñata, actually.
Oh yeah,
I'm not kidding.
Is that the?
I'm not kidding. Literally, it came out of a piñata.
So you wore it once. You didn't go out in it.
Wasn't that a globortion or some shit? Isn't that what you call that?
Oh yeah, it was that IPS globe thing in Santa Fe. Yeah, people were beating a globe piñata, and that was inside.
So IPS got shot, Ace.
Apparently he did. Yeah. So
who did?
Our RIP IPS. I don't know. I mean, I've been getting links to news articles about a man shot dead in Albuquerque. So. Some people seem to believe that he's dead. So I don't know yet, but I will spread the rumor.
I think he just likes everybody to be like talking about him still.
Yeah, I have no affiliation with him.
Send her the link. Send her the link, Ace.
Oh yeah, let me check it out.
Shout out to Ranty in the Iron Roll Media chat.
Yo, Ranty. Ranty's a solid dude.
Yep.
Well, he takes some very nice photography.
Yeah, he does, yeah.
Of the curvature.
Has he got, has he got a tripod? Has he got a tripod?
I don't know what he's got.
Yeah, of course he has a tripod. What do you think?
Steady hands.
No. No, so yeah, he does have kind of a steady hand, better than Riley anyway. But he also, of course, has a what is it called again?
I just have to say, if they would have seen Ireland, then they would have gotten my attention. But the fact that there's a plaque that says that you can see the Isle of Man, and it's like a tourist kind of attraction that occasionally you can see the island looming in the distance, and that there's a plaque on the shore that tells you about it, makes me think it's not really that impressive to see that. So I feel like Ranty, maybe you ought to try something different besides those two locations you always go to.
So,
well, I have a nice example.
An odd reasoning.
I have a good example. How about that sunset going behind that mountain? several hundred miles away. That footage that
Why wouldn't the sun set behind a mountain, though?
yeah, but it was like 200 miles away at the
Well,
horizon.
was the sun supposed to set in front of the mountain?
No, it's a straight line of sight. 200 miles.
On the sunset, and you could see the mountain because the sun was setting behind it?
Yeah, exactly.
You could see the whole mountain?
You could see, yeah, the silhouette of the mountain.
The whole mountain, though, not just the peak.
Yeah, a big chunk of it.
Well, if you want to give me the
clear
video, I will.
pattern enabling you to identify it.
Is this a ranty video?
No, this is from Jaren.
No. Is this at Mount? What is it?
What's it called again, guys?
Don't know. Just while you're doing that, shout out West Coast Wisdom and Earth Flattener. Is that any better? On full volume now.
Yeah, loud and clear.
Yeah, I think it's just in the YouTube. I'm quiet for once. It was too hot last week.
Sounds good here. Sounds good here.
Just getting a bit of grief, Dan. Sorry, guys. Anyway,
I'm looking up the video right now.
That mountain is 275 miles from beyond horizons. These are people that take photographs of distant objects and submit them to a website called Beyond Horizons.
Nice. I'll have to check that out. Do you think the Mick West curve calculator is just wrong, or is it right? What?
It's
Everyone's
classy.
Is this
I
classic?
think that Mick West is a goon.
He did the Tony Hawk's skateboarder video game, that didn't he?
He definitely looks like a goon, but whether he's a goon or not, I don't know.
He's definitely a goon, okay? Him and Joe Rogan are both just goons, dude. Roddy Bravo, just a bunch of goons.
I like Joe Rogan and Eddie Bravo, though. I think they're decent people.
You know them?
No, but the
You don't know if they're decent people. You just know what you see when they decide to show you what they want you to see, dude. You
yeah,
don't
but he
know
was
'em.
smoking weed with Elon Musk. That's got to be good, isn't it?
That's just another goon, too.
Elon Musk
and
is
Mick
so
West,
real.
like, I can't even tell the two apart.
Elon Musk.
No,
is
come
so
on,
real.
guys. Come on.
Dude, Elon Musk is so real. He fake smokes fake weed.
Dude, you know he's real because he looks so fake.
I don't know about
Yeah,
that.
sorry.
I don't know if he looks fake. He looks a lot like.
Well, does he really look like this amazing intellectual that's like,
Maybe he looks like
for a
maybe
big
like he
company
didn't.
that
You
is
know,
really
he's not very
visionary?
cool. He doesn't look like he's cool. So he might have to be smart. I don't know.
Not even
Have you
at
ever
all.
seen him speak?
Apparently,
Elon Musk. Have I heard him speak? Yeah, I've heard him speak.
Do you think that's the speech of a genius?
Well, I don't know if I know what a genius's speech is like. I mean,
Well,
I don't really
intelligent,
feel like
insightful.
people are geniuses or not geniuses. I know when people say things that sound stupid and when people say things that are correct.
Right.
I said he was a goon. I said he looks like he's related to Mick West. That's about as much of an opinion as you're getting out of me.
All right.
If he fucking put a car in space, I guess he's pretty smart, or he's got a lot of resources, one way or the other, right?
I think Mick West is related to a coat hanger also.
Are these guys both English? Mick West and Elon?
Mick West
Musk
is.
is South African.
yeah, apparently he grew up in South Africa, Elon Musk, but he's related to
Well, that should
someone
tell you something.
that worked for
What?
Barclays. Apparently, he worked like
That he's Dutch
parents-
related?
His parents
No,
worked for
if
Barclays.
he lived in South Africa, he lives in South Africa.
What does that tell you?
I don't know. I just thought the
That he
people
grew
that
up
were
among farmers? What?
the white people in South Africa are evil. That's what I heard.
What? Why?
Because
Well, yeah. He
There's
moved
different
out.
parties there. You do realize that. So what's evil there? I know there's a lot going on. I've been following the
Well, I
news.
mean,
So.
Elon Musk for starts.
What? What did he do there?
I'm just playing around with you, Arwen. You're just like the way you're going, what? And so I keep just saying stuff that makes you say it. I'll stop though.
Okay.
Maybe we need to research Elon
Fine.
Musk. Maybe we need to research his background.
Right.
Yeah, maybe he's got like Illuminati tattoos like Dell.
No. He might.
You guys still like Dell? Or is Dell out
I
now?
love
Dell is
I
the
love him.
worst of all.
Yeah.
I've
that's
never
why he's so
ever
great.
liked Dell, and I will say that to his face.
You know he's fantastic because he's so terrible.
He just
Don't you get it?
sucks. He's awful. I don't know how people watch that shit. Are you kidding me?
No, I love
Maybe
it.
they're
It's
waiting for
just-
something to happen.
God.
It all depends. Like if he's really energetic, then I love it. But or when he's insightful, and he does have those moments in between usually. But he has periods when it's just obviously not going too well with him. He doesn't
Yeah,
speak
but-
about it. He's very close, so he's just gonna stay in an agitated
I-
mode. And I don't like it
I've-
when that happens.
I've
That's too
never
much
seen
pressure.
the thing you're talking about. I just see the shed rage. It's like, okay, it's fun to watch for like a few minutes, but damn, like all day, every day, just
He doesn't do it all day every day.
rage. Well,
Doesn't-
all that I've seen.
Well, then
Plus,
he
I
just
got
doesn't
banned
do
from
it
his
every
chat
day.
on his very first live stream. So I was like, fuck all this shit.
Didn't he just do one with Eric Dubay recently? Sit down
Yeah,
with
he
Eric
did.
Dubay.
Yeah.
Don't.
That
Did he?
was
What do
fascinating.
what do you think about Eric Dubay? Is he cool still, or is he a shill? Whatever you call him.
Man, that guy is like one slippery snake.
Why
But
is it?
yeah, he is very good at storytelling. He does it very well, like his recordings. But as a person,
Yeah,
no.
well,
Creepy.
him and Dell seem to be.
Yeah,
partners
well,
or
hey,
something.
that's fine. You know, I in my past I did hang around with a couple of creepy people.
Yeah,
So-
well, me too. But
You know, everyone.
you might even still be
Clicks,
doing
if
that
it
right now,
clicks, it clicks,
Arwen.
you
You
know.
know, with Riley and that. But
What?
You hang around with
What?
Ryan.
you said you hung around with creepy people in your past. I said you might still be hanging around with creepy people now, Arwen.
What's wrong with Riley?
I was just
So-
making a joke. I'm just making jokes.
Would you go in his hot tub? You would go in his hot tub, wouldn't you, Channel Q?
Ugh. What?
If
You
anyway,
get in this
moving
hot
on.
tub.
Don't knock it till you try it.
Have you tried it?
I haven't been in his hot tub. Have you?
I don't
been?
get it.
Tried my hot tub, and I like my hot tub.
I'm not
So I
getting
can't
anybody's
imagine
hot
why I
tub.
wouldn't like it.
Because I don't want anybody's herpes. How about that?
Who's there?
Ugh.
Hey, P.
I don't take baths with other people. That's disgusting.
P. Mars, you there?
Did he join?
No,
Yeah, he did.
Mars.
I think.
P. Mars, get in here, dude. What are you doing?
Speak up, P. Mars.
Shout
Get in
out
here
to
and get some
Mars.
attention from the flatties so Cat Earth can make fun of us for it because we're getting attention from flatties. I didn't even know what the hell the link was I clicked on. I just came in here and I was like, oh,
Oh,
He's
he's
there.
gone.
I tried to send a link to Cat Earth, but he's not part of PMAR's server anymore.
Ah,
yes, he is. He was just in there
Sweet.
talking shit to me and P. Mars.
hello, Patrick.
Patrick,
It's Mr. P. Mars.
Patrick.
You come to Miyagi.
Oh, so that's it. It means Patrick Mars. Now I get it.
Yeah, if P then Q, dude. Remember that.
Ah,
Mars is my last name, too.
if P,
See?
then M.
No, if P then Q. See, he's the P and I'm the Q. So every
Oh.
time Nathan says that, he's just shouting me and P out.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, PMARS was on Nathan's earlier, talking about the
I
N
thought
word.
he just like urine.
Urine. That's a
No, the urine therapy is that's your deal, Ace.
That's what D Marble's talking to Dave Murphy about right now.
Disgusting.
Why do people always obsess over that shit? Just
Who's tried it? Have you tried it, Owen? Have you
no,
Have
no,
you
Come
tried
on,
it?
Arwen, be honest.
Who's tried it? Here.
no,
come on.
not.
You know Antonio convinced you that it was a good idea.
Antonio told
Antonio?
people
What
to
the
do
fuck,
it.
dude?
Antonio cigarettes.
No, but I've been confronted with the concept many times, like a long time ago, even. So, and I'm repelled by it. But yeah,
Just
I
get
do
your-
Get some
recognize.
points
No,
for
but
that, dude.
I
Have
do
a shower,
recognize
get your
there are
hands together.
certain very strange but effective medical benefits from it. But yeah, it's not like you're supposed to like do that like all the time. And
Like
it all
fresh
depends.
breath.
It's a careful process, and you have to have full oversight and knowledge and control over your body and what you're eating and everything, because you can screw that up big time if you just get wild with whatever you're going to eat.
Like
So
Hot Pockets.
Oh, fuck
I
it.
don't do it because I don't really need it. I could. It's like an option were I ever to need something like really desperately, probably before I try that.
Dude,
But
do you make Hot Pockets in the microwave?
never,
That's
never,
the only way to make them.
never,
Dude, if you make Hot Pockets in the microwave, you're a
Never.
scientist.
never. I don't use a microwave ever.
Fucking
Haven't-
scientist.
For almost 20 years, I haven't ever used a microwave.
What's a hot pocket? Just that.
What does a microwave do exactly?
Yeah,
It
don't
Radiation.
use.
destroys the
bad.
It's
chemical.
radiation to cook your food from the inside out.
It destroys the
So
Well,
chemical.
Hot
basically-
Pockets
Destroys
are
the
like
water.
90% chemical.
Ionized rays into the center of your food.
Hell yeah. And it
It
heats them up.
chemically changes whatever is in there. It's very
Does it
destroying.
change it
It's what
into
heats it.
bad stuff or good stuff or just
It
neutral
heats
stuff?
it. It doesn't really change it.
Urine is actually a secondary waste disposal mechanism. Blood first passes through the liver where the toxins, dead cells, and various waste is removed and eliminated, then pumped through the kidneys where excess fluids and water is soluble molecules. Now, nitrogen, vitamins, minerals, proteins, antibodies, and other metabolites are extracted and transferred to the bladder to await expulsion.
Did you say toxins
And then
dead
to your
cells?
mouth.
There's a mixed conception that urine is sterile when it exits your body. It's not. That myth began in the 50s.
Yeah,
It's-
almost into the 50s.
I don't
guys.
think there's
Also
I don't-
deposits antibodies, and that is
yeah, but
yeah.
I think it's not healthy. Only in a survival situation should you drink your own urine.
Yeah,
It's not
like
good
No,
for
if
it's
you.
you're,
not something you should do.
lost in the desert or some shit, dude, and there's no water, and you can't find
Bear
any.
Grylls.
No, that's a bad idea. Unless
Bear
you
Grylls.
understand. But seriously, you can medically apply it. But you don't do it all the time. You just do it once.
Yeah, but if you rip your
Or
finger
twice.
off, you can piss on it, and it grows
I've
back.
never heard about any of that ever in my life.
Oh, speaking of ripping off, check this shit
I
out.
know the
Say-
only time you're supposed to pee on anybody is if they get stung by like a jellyfish. Dude.
Or if they ask you to.
I mean,
It actually says in here that that's not a good idea either.
oh, it's when it's a jellyfish
Says-
thing either. All right, fine then. I won't be peeing
You're
on
in
you
the
if you get
ass-
stung by a jellyfish either. Then.
So just for fun and not for medical. All right, we're clear.
It says it's an
So-
urban myth. There's an urban myth.
Shall I share
regarding
something silly with you?
Peeing on jellyfish things. It's a bad idea. Says in
Right,
this
but-
article.
I'll share something silly that I learned. I haven't confirmed, and that is that actually pee is good for the skin. Yep. If it's properly mineralized, if you're healthy.
It's,
Really?
it's the urea content.
I don't think it is.
Peeing on a
Take
jellyfish
a piss at
sting.
things.
Peeing on jellyfish stings is counterproductive as the sodium in your piss can reactivate embedded nemesis, the stingers, worsening the pain, while the bacteria present in your urine are afforded to free trip up your bloodstream.
Yeah, that's what I would have thought about it too. That it wouldn't be
Oh.
good, but I had heard that it was good. But I would never be in that
Hey, what
situation,
does
I'm
that
sure.
mean? That just means if you've got open wounds, then the
Yeah,
salt
wounds.
within the urine will stimulate nerve impulses.
Don't
It's
open
unlikely with a jellyfish thing that would be applicable. It's the urea and ammonia in there that neutralizes some
Logic.
of it. But I
Says
mean,
it-
there's a lot of this sort of shit. That I've looked into this, and I know people that have done urine therapy. It's not something I've ever even been able to get around to contemplate. Or I've contemplated it, but to do it, and yeah, and it's not something you start on day one. You've got to purify your body first, so you're not pumping out that kind of orange tea before you start it. But there's very little scientific evidence for and against it. Okay, there's very little there. But what there is a hell of a lot of anecdotal evidence, not just from flat earthers or New Agers, but actually really, really super helpful. One of the biggest exponents I'm aware of is Tim Sheaf, who's one of the free runners, and you'll see him on like Ninja Warrior and that. They're the most awesome, fit people you ever see, and he's a huge exponent of urine therapy. So, whilst I don't poo-poo it, I also don't necessarily agree with it. I think it does require something other than witness statements with regards to its benefit to have any real determined statement about its effectiveness other than, oh, fucking hell, it's gross. Just drinking your piss is. But actually, there's a lot of stuff in there that might be beneficial. You do talk about the biological mechanism, P, of excretion and metabolism with regards to liver and kidney there, and that's correct. But the body isn't that refined. It does also lose a lot of beneficial minerals and salts that it is then seeking and craving the next day. So there is also a nutritional component that whatever you do excrete, you are actually going to be seeking the next day as well. So hence why it's useful in survival situations.
Thank you.
I think it's useful in survival situation because it can help you. It does hydrate you slightly, but eventually it'll be like drinking seawater because you're not putting water back into your system.
You can just see it desalinate it, and you know.
Yeah, but when you apply heat to it, you destroy the organic components there.
You don't have to add heat to desalinate water. You don't know how to desalinate water?
Sorry, explain the setup.
Okay, so if you get some salt water, and you need 2 bowls. Put the salt water in one bowl, and then you put other salt water in another bowl, and you put it in the center of the other bowl with the water in it, and you cover it with a piece of plastic wrap, and you set it like in the sun or something, and eventually the water in the middle bowl, in the center of the bowl, will become unsalt water. It won't be salt water anymore, and you can drink it. Well, you can purify and drink it.
So you're exposing it to electricity. That's also going to damage.
That's all you have to do is just put it in a bowl inside of a bowl of water, and the smaller bowl in the center will be the water will become unsalinated.
There's say it? Desalinated. I don't know.
You're making it rain.
Desalinated, unsalinated.
There's a 80s.
There'll be no salad for sure.
There's an 80s movie called Society, which is about like a rich satanic cult in Beverly Hills, and in that movie the cult has the members drink urine, and I think it's a thing cults do to get. It's like if you can convince your cult member to drink urine, it's like you've totally got control over their mind, in my opinion. Got them doing like messed up things.
Possibly, yeah. Yeah, it's a test of loyalty.
You have a strange way of thinking, P.
No, but yeah.
You worry too much about other people affecting you.
No, but
what are you talking about?
If I was the point I'm taking is.
Hold on, please.
No, well, let me redress just one second. If I was going to drink piss, it would be because I'd informed myself based on what I was just described to you, not because there was other people around me going chorga lug, mate. You seem to be very influenced by other people and worry too much, mate.
No, I'm interested in how people are manipulated, mass psychology, propaganda, brainwashing. That's my kink.
Right. So I would like to respond with some very detailed knowledge in this subject. Okay, and that is that some of the cults in the 70s and 60s, was it hippie cults? There were some cults, just like in America especially. And yeah, they did, some of them, apply urine therapy, and they actually can combine that with certain types of drugs that when you take them, has very minor response. But then when you urinate it out, then suddenly it has like a huge psychotropic effect. I think it's like mushroom related or whatever.
That's what I said, Arwin, earlier.
Amanita muscaria.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you know that shit, Ace.
Often,
Yeah, I got some of those.
often, Arwen, most drugs, when you absorb them gastrically, go through the liver first, and they're changed in the liver to become the active metabolite, which is how most drugs work. In a lot of ways as well, the body does that to make it more easy for it to be renally excreted, so passed out in the urine. And in doing so, it can potentiate some of the compounds in there. So if you were to re-ingest them, it will give you a much more biologically potent,
Attune.
a compound than you had originally. A lot of drugs that you take pharmacologically do that. It's not there. It's there. A lot of heart drugs, the good ones, isosabide
First
mononitrate.
pass metabolism.
Oh, sorry, that's through the bum. Sorry, in that first, that's avoidance of first pass. If you suppositories, but once it goes through the liver, once you often get metabolic changes. So you'll get isosabide mononitrate into dinitrate, which is a much more active compound in terms of dilating blood vessels. So it's used that mechanism as well. But as you say, those excreted compounds can be more potent than the one first ingested.
Who's actually drank it here on the panel? Who's actually drank it?
Well, no.
Who
I
hasn't?
did offer it.
I have.
Get a panel with Antonio and Peach, and then ask that
I drank it once. Well, it was like a 2-week loop.
IRM.
Was it horrendous?
Is that you, Josh?
How you doing, Adam?
Oh, evening, pal. How are you?
I'm all right. I just wanted to come say hello. I saw I was streaming. I figured I'd come in and say hi.
I was about to say there's a man I know that has, who, you know, that vouches for the benefits, not extols its virtues, saying everybody should, but has done it and tried it, and like I said, other than famous people. So go on, I'll leave it to you, mate. Go on.
He survived and lived.
He's not dead.
Not dead. Well, the trick really is changing your diet. Most of the issues with piss is you're taking in so much bad shit that it comes out smelling and tasting like that bad shit you take in. So once you change your diet and start taking in better raw foods, it's a whole different experience. But then beyond that, it really is a psychological thing. That's a big barrier. It's like eating bugs. You know, it's that first one's always the hardest, but it's really just a psychological issue that you're eating an earthworm or eating a grub or whatever it is. But
the first shot of piss is the worst.
Well, it's just a matter of how you do it too, I reckon. But really, if you're drinking a lot of water, if you're staying fully hydrated, it tastes like water. It's really no different. It's clear. It has zero taste. And it's just like water.
Do you eat your own shit?
I don't.
I wouldn't recommend it.
No, actually,
that's the next step, though.
I would totally recommend you eating my shit.
That's the next step.
I'd get you a spoon, Pete.
You guys want to go back to talking about gravity yet?
You let me in your Saturnian.
No.
It's much better.
I'd rather talk about IPS being shot too.
What?
That's what they told me.
Yeah, I got sent links from news article, man shot dead in Albuquerque, and people that are friends with him are saying that he was killed. So I don't know.
What?
No, not friends. People that know him. How about that? And associate with him.
Holy shit. Got
That's
some
insane.
links?
So it could be just a rumor, but yeah, that's the rumor. How about that? That's the rumor.
It's the gossip.
Yeah, I sent Dan the article.
Well, that is horrible. I'm no fan, but that'd be absolutely horrible if it's true.
Yeah, right.
I don't think it is true.
No.
The reports of IPS death are greatly exaggerated.
Well, you don't think it's true because you would know if it was. I didn't order any hits.
Okay, any signs of IPS?
I didn't get confirmation on that yet.
It's going to be a question on the list, I guess.
You're going to get it put onto the housekeeping, Owen.
Yes.
That Bill Miller and IPS.
I think if he was dead, we'd be able to tell because the world would be a better place.
Does it feel better?
It does kind of
I feel like
better.
global warming would have been ended or something.
I feel lighter.
Yeah. Now that you're talking, Mars, maybe something to it.
P-Mars, did you shoot IPS?
I don't have a gun.
Oh, okay, so then it couldn't have been you.
It's not an answer.
Would you shoot him?
No, I guess I wouldn't shoot him. No, I would just outcast him from society.
You just like make him mad and then hold him back with one arm, like while he tried to punch you.
We are talking about a possibly dead person right now, right?
He's not dead, Ace. He's just short. He's just really, really short.
I hope he's not.
He's really short, like shorter than most women. Short.
So what's the last thing anybody has heard of him, like activity-wise on YouTube or chats?
That he's short.
I saw him trolling the Hoary Sheet show, and he was trolling Antonio.
Oh,
what A-list is what chat names does he have?
No, because he can't use that name anymore because MGTV bought the rights to Infinite Plane Society and the Tim Oswald disease, so he can't use his names anymore.
Y'all know that IPS is MGTV, right?
No,
Y'all know that's the same person, and they have this little charade going on. Oh, this guy. But it's really just him. Yeah, that's what's happening there.
It's not.
Have you confirmed that with voice analysis?
He doesn't talk. MGTV just makes videos where
It just makes a lot of sense.
where he just shows stuff. Most of it's really boring, and you don't watch it because it's like clickbait most of the time.
Is IPS gone pretty quiet though, Ace? Though he used to do like loads of YouTube.
Well, if you
videos.
get shot dead, you get pretty quiet.
No, he was doing streams every day. Last I saw.
Oh, look, Orphan Red's here, guys.
Hey,
Shout.
where in the chat? Or no?
Yeah, she's saying hi to you.
Hello.
Hello, Orphan Red, my favourite flat earther. Yes, welcome.
Ooh.
She's my favourite.
Well, there you go, Dan. Today's the day.
She needs to come into chat though. She needs to come in.
Oh, and talk to us? Yeah, we're being pretty polite.
Yeah,
we
are.
keep off that other subject, it would be swell. What's up?
Yeah, we're talking about urine therapy and stuff. And,
yeah, she doesn't like that. She thinks anybody who tells you to do that is a Satanist.
That was I chatted with a few people on Twitter about that, and people who hold that opinion shared some of the biblical scriptures to me, and I can't quote the Bible passage, but I think the point was it was at a time of desperate need, and the analogy was to refer to you could be as desperate as needing to have to drink your urine. But I don't remember in any of the stuff that was shared with me that it was portrayed as something satanic or evil. It was portrayed as a need, a desperate need, but not something that isn't doable.
Well, I just think it's funny because she did this whole hangout with Antonio where they told everybody that if anybody tells you to do that, then they're trying to get you into a satanic cult. And I thought it was funny because Antonio told everybody to do that.
Yeah, he told everyone to do that, but then he said that he never did it. So I don't get it.
But he definitely told people to do it in the shower and gave a whole like demonstration.
Yeah, I saw that.
And then he played Orphan Red out like, "Oh, let's go tell everybody that's satanic," and I'll never even tell her I said that.
Yeah, it's kind of two-faced.
Can't it be both, though?
Suppose if you're drinking piss in the name of the devil, then it's satanic, isn't it? But
yeah. See, Orphan Red just confirmed what I just said.
It's satanic because it's unnatural, right? Like
well, what if you bless it with the
product.
name of Jesus Christ?
I think that makes it more satanic.
They say like gay sex is satanic.
Like,
because it's
like what if I
unnatural.
go and bless a fucking child rape with the blood of Jesus Christ? Does that make it Christian now?
Well, I think that's the point.
It makes it even more evil, dude. That's what it makes it.
The intention. Dude, it's like prayer.
Arvin,
it's like meditation.
Jesus can't cure everything.
It's another intention. No, but it's not exactly about that icon. It's about the focus that it brings, and the personal association, the energy that it releases in the person, and that rubs off literally on whatever they're focusing on. That's what prayer is.
Has anybody had like a shower and then like had a piss inside the shower on like the foot or like the toe? Maybe
you guys scared Orphan right away already. She already ran away now.
Okay.
Maybe like
you're talking about parabolic art.
She's like, I didn't know.
There.
Dan invited me, and now I'm listening. I don't want to hear this shit. And she ran away. You guys ruined
maybe
it,
like,
dude.
Maybe you're having a shower, Channel Q. And
Bio.
We cooked Dan.
Bio.
You cock blocked me.
Sorry,
Dan. I will admit my guilt on that one. I read, as I mentioned earlier, urine's high in urea, which is very, very good if you look at a lot of the natural skin products.
Yeah,
it's used for that. I always, a blessing of being a boy.
Skin.
It's very easy to piss in between your toes in the shower, and it's something I've always done since I remember why I did it. I remember Madonna mentioned it in the 80s. And then I did research it and thought, well...
Oh, yeah, Madonna. She's giving out great advice.
Hey, look, I'm not
Dude,
saying
she looks
that
like she's 20
validates it. I'm just
years
saying
old
why.
still.
Yes,
Why?
she has thought about blowing up the White House. Remember?
Well, to be fair, who hasn't?
Yeah, but you wouldn't
She has good skin
announce it before a crowd.
for an 80-year-old. She has great
Can't
skin
believe
for
you
an
guys took
80-year-old.
Orphan right away. What's wrong with you?
I shouldn't be
I thought
scared
she
of a
might
bit
come
of
in
wee
here.
wee.
I thought she might
Orphan
come in
Red
here and
left on
like
her own
balance it out a
accord.
bit.
No one
you
was
know?
chasing.
She
I
didn't
had
like
never
our
heard it was
conversation.
satanic. I never heard it was satanic until a bunch of flat earthers got all bent out of shape over hearing about it. Said it was disgusting. That wasn't enough. And figured out there was all sorts of other ways to attack it. And then apparently now it was satanic. But I'd never heard that. So
Josh, that's why I asked those flat earthers for the scripture, which related to it being satanic. And like I said, you read it, there's no implication of Satanism or it being of the devil. There is an implication of it being of desperate needs, and therefore
Are
not
both of y'all-
natural.
Sorry, are both of y'all on Iron Realm Media?
Yep.
Yeah.
Like on Fridays and stuff? Okay, I thought so. Just making sure.
We're dual streaming on Dan's channel and on Iron Realm Media.
Yeah, so if it gets porn banned on here, I don't know what happens, but it should be okay, hopefully.
We're okay on this side. It's fine.
Yeah, I'm the only porn bomber, and I like you guys, so you're fine.
Oh, thanks, P.
Yay!
Let's not
Yeah.
go there.
We're safe. P Mars has got our back.
One of the first flat Earth videos, I think the first flat Earth video I did was about urine therapy being satanic, actually.
I want to talk about gravity.
I
We're
don't.
scared
I
of
want to
the
ask
red
P
away.
why he does porn bomb. P, why do you do stuff like that? Why?
It doesn't.
I don't porn bomb. I'm just joking.
Really?
Everyone thinks I porn bomb, so
All right. Why do any of you
See, the
guys
whole
do?
thing is that there's really just only one person who ever does it, and none of us will tell you who he is because that's just how it's going to be. But you can think that it's everybody, but you'll never think who it is. So, haha.
Oh, if only I could.
You're harboring.
But you guys are always going to blame the
Harboring
ones who
porn
got like the biggest the mouth, like P Mars. You're going to blame him because he's got a big mouth, and Tim Osmond because he's
Genuinely, my
But it's
question was.
not ever them. It's never them.
My
But you
question
blame them
was.
because they got their big mouths.
My question wasn't really like that. It was more in relation to it. Why do you devote any of your life and your energy to that sort of stuff?
It's HSP gang. We already know that.
Sorry.
yeah, it's HS. I think HSP
Why-
does it. I don't know.
Why do what? I don't know. Probably because it's just like it's amusing. Probably just has fun doing it. Like, it's like going to the club and trying out a new dance move or something.
I think some people believe that flat Earth is gross disinformation and misinformation, and so that they feel justified in taking away your right to have a platform. But I disagree with that sentiment because I believe in freedom of speech, and you should be allowed to say whatever crazy crap you want to say and not have your platform taken away.
I totally agree.
Free speech.
So
up until a certain limit, though.
I think people should be punished for their lies.
You shouldn't be allowed to like call for violence on people or something like that.
I think you should be allowed to, sit on YouTube and lie all day if that's what you want to do. But I do think you should be punished for those lies. And if that means like you get porn bombed, then I guess that's what you get. You know what I mean?
You should be like with Rotten Tomatoes is with movies and everything. All these guilds of people. There should just be a group of people that do pretty much the same thing. And there's already things like that, but they suck. I guess because it's all been politicized so much.
Yeah, I think there's a big push right now to censor freedom of speech because like fake news and all this crap, and I don't.
Yeah, there are big plans in the wait, but
once you start censoring,
there are big plans in the wait, but currently it's not the right climate to bring these plans forth. But they are really desperate. It was on the agenda pretty much.
Well, I mean, once you start censoring things, it's like the thing in Germany. Well, first they came for like the handicap, and no one stood up for them. And
possibly.
So once they start censoring, like they might start out with like censoring flat Earth or like auto hoax stuff, and then
they flag that shit when they censor what's his face, Alex Jones from Twitter, and then say it's an offense to our free speech. It's like, no, it isn't, dude. It's Alex Jones being kicked off of Twitter. He's still on the internet. You can still download his shows. He's still got freedom of speech. He just can't be on Twitter.
But it's like who decides?
But they're false flagging us to get us all upset about our freedom of speech being infringed upon, so that we get all this hostile about nothing, and that's what I don't like.
It's like who decides? It's like who decides what fake news is? Like one day you might be in the clear, and the next day all of a sudden you're fake news because someone arbitrarily decided what you said isn't true or something. Then you get banned.
Yeah, it's fucked. It's like why it's important to get to the truth of everything, I suppose. Maybe that's why there's a flat Earth conversation where people literally want to question something so obviously factually improvable, such as the shape of the Earth.
Well, I think it's not absolutely
here's a question I want to ask you, because you have your considerations. So a lot of people will say that, and I'm going to use the word again, even though I said don't call names, but I don't know what else to say. Okay. So a lot of people say if we sent a flat earther out into outer space and they looked back and they saw the sphere for themselves, they would say, oh, well, my eyes are curved, or you drugged me and tricked me and I'm really in a TV show or something. Right. What would happen if you went into outer space, Arwen?
I take a very, very good camera with me, systems to stabilize footage, and then as I would look down, basically memorize what I'm seeing, and then comparing it later with the camera footage. And then see, okay, is there some kind of optical suggestion that makes it look like it's like really like the globe? Or
so even if you saw it with your own eyes, you would still think you were being tricked somehow?
No, I am just analyzing the data. I am getting data, both from my own eyes and from the camera, and then I'm comparing that data.
You're looking through a window.
When you look at it with your own eyes for the first time, there's more to it than just sight. Your mind does things to interpret it, as it were, as to what you're seeing, like a focusing.
I think she's talking about if you went far enough away to see the entire sphere.
Well, who knows? Maybe you will see.
Owen, mate, it's a bullshit question with respect. Because it's based on the premise of you going, first of all, out into space and then seeing it as a ball, instead of just going further and further back and seeing an infinite plane. You know, it's a nonsense question, mate. But
You're not going to see infinite
the
plane.
question I would say is, zetetically,
How about-
if that did happen and I was presented with those clearly observable facts, like the Earth is clearly observably flat, but I was presented with something clearly observable where it was a ball, then of course I would have to change my opinion. But
Now I have a question.
Not
Is
necessarily.
my
if my auntie
audio?
had
But
a
that
ball, it
wasn't
should be
actually
my uncle,
that
wouldn't
wasn't
you?
actually my question.
Hello,
My
hello.
question was like, what does he think
Hello,
about
hello.
people think that way? That if you sent him flat Earth or out into outer space, he would just say his eyes were curved, even if he saw the ball.
No, because that's basically what's happening with the ballers right now. They're being shown it's flat, but they're still saying it's a
Hello,
ball.
hello. Is that better? Y'all
Hi.
couldn't hear me just a second ago?
Yeah, we could hear you.
No, I can hear you now.
Oh, you could. Oh, I had my headset unplugged. I guess this shit doesn't work. Oh, I gotta ask you the same question. How far up would you need to go where you still see a flat level plane in order to say that it's flat? How many miles?
What? Again.
How many miles up would you need to go to recognize that it's flat and not a sphere?
I'd say if I like went to Mars and then I was on
Sure,
Mars,
if you
near Mars,
went to
and I was
Mars
looking back at Earth,
and you're
like
still looking down and it looks flat and level, yeah, how far away would you need to be to recognize?
93
that it's flat.
million.
Okay, so 93 million miles away. If you went
Yeah,
up
that
that
sounds
high
about right.
and you looked down and you didn't see a ball, you just saw a flat plane, then you would say, okay, it's flat.
Yeah, that sounds
Okay,
good.
so 93 million. Okay, just wondering. That's all. It's just a question.
Genius, sorry.
No, but my question
No, but
wasn't
it
that.
is-
My question was more to Arwen. Wasn't about like necessarily that. It's more like how does he feel about that? Does he feel that, you know, if people think that if he goes into outer space, he's just going to make up the excuse that his eyes are.
No, I think most people would say that they were wrong. I think a lot of these people are looking for the actual truth. Okay.
It sounds
I-
more
What
like
I'm doing
a
is
rein.
basically I'm presupposing that your scenario is
But I
real.
get, the thing is the people who would say that about you going into space, that your eyes would be curved. I don't think they are looking for the truth.
But I personally would
think they
lie
have.
and still keep promoting flat Earth, even if I saw a ball. And I'm not kidding.
Why?
And I've said that before, and I'll say it again.
Guys, Owen, just what I would say is it sounds not like a question for a flat earther, but it sounds more like the sort of statements that are touted around ball earthers as a reinforcement state for them to not have to deal with some of the clear facts, so that they can put flat earthers into this box that even if they went up into space and saw it as a ball, they'd make an excuse up. As if we're
And that's
not
why I
critically
asked my
analysing
question.
the evidence that's in front of us. It's just something that a baller uses to comfort himself, whilst ignoring some of the evidence that's out there.
By the way, shout out to Haunted House that just came in. Haunted House, how you
What's
doing,
up,
man?
Dan?
Well, what's the evidence?
My favorite YouTuber.
Hi, ha
Haunted
ho.
House.
What's
My
up, Ace?
favorite-
What's up,
my
Arwen?
favorite YouTuber.
NM.
One of the first things that I would test if I would go would be sent up to extreme heights somehow, and I'm not bumping into any dome or whatever. Yeah, who knows? Like, I'm selected to do that. Yeah, it's basically movie talk, but yeah, who knows? If I would get to do that, sent up, one of the first things I would be testing, if there was some kind of zone where gravity no longer applies, that where you would just free float, if it arrives, if one of the first things I'm going to be testing is what is the air pressure outside. Like, is it really a vacuum or is it just gas? Because yeah, if there's going to be a big space above us, yeah, there's going to be gas pressure there. It's just going to be extremely low. I don't know if there is going to be the same density buoyancy effect, which I presume is caused by gravity over there, as it seems to be all over the Earth. But yeah, if it wasn't, you'd be floating up there, but there's still going to be gas pressure. So that's one of the things I would test first. Once I get out of my super height floating pod,
I would live stream the whole damn thing.
Of course.
I'd be the first
What do you think?
to ever do that full live stream.
Of course I would. Absolutely.
So speaking of
I think
completely
that's really cool. I want to
hypotheticals,
get that opportunity to do exactly what you just said. I really
Right.
would.
Well, if it's actually done by people that I trust and not like NASA
You gotta
propulsion
kinda, like,
laboratories or something. It's
gotta
like,
go with the people who've
right.
done it before, dude. I mean, unless you're gonna start right now trying to figure out how to develop your own space.
like M. Scott Veach.
Maybe I can do a GoFundMe.
That guy's not
M.
legit.
Scott Beach. Yeah, he's done it.
Nah.
Okay, sure he is.
Yeah, haunted
But
house.
let me ask you another question since you brought up this whole air pressure thing. I want to ask you a question. So we can agree that like a balloon that's inflated with air it has gas pressure, right? It's an
Yeah.
enclosed system, right, of air pressure, right?
All right.
So I want to ask you this question. Do you think that the air pressure in the center of the balloon is different than the air pressure around the outer edge of the balloon, the inner outer edge of the balloon? So pressing against the rubber surface of the balloon, is the pressure greater or lesser than that in the center of that balloon inside that enclosed?
No. It's basically, there is a slight gradient depending on the size and the pressure. But just like in a tanker, if you would fill it up with pure, then half of it would become liquid and sit at the bottom. So there's a slight gradient, but otherwise the pressure is equal in all directions, except for that slight gradient from up to down.
Okay.
I would also add that if you took that balloon and filled it and left it in a static state, there would also be some ordering of the component compounds within there, the component gas compounds. There will be some.
Speaking of ordering, check this out. Now, gravity, right? It holds the oceans down, right? We're led to believe it holds all the water molecules of the oceans like down.
Get out of here, as if it does. That's
hold on. So, how does gravity work with a cloud? Like, there's water, literally H2O molecules floating above less dense gas molecules. Now, how does that work in a classic model? No, I just want to hear but I know, so whatever, whoever wants to field that question, I would love to know.
All right. Well,
if the water molecules get too dense, then it rains, so they do fall. The water does.
But
fall.
a water molecule is dense as it is ever.
Doesn't change.
A water molecule is just a water molecule.
But
so how does it exist?
It changes.
It's subjected to temperature differences that cause it to basically form a liquid substance again. But it is. While it's up there,
literally,
it's in a
the
liquid
cloud
state.
Itself is.
I mean, it's dissolved.
No, you need to really think about this.
When you're seeing this wispy white cloud, that's the liquid in a wispy white gas.
No, you need to really think about it.
The cloud gets thicker and darker, and the denser it gets, the thicker and darker it gets, and then eventually rain starts to fall.
Yeah,
so
but you need to think about why is it up there in the first place. That's what you really need to think about.
It's less dense. It's water vapor.
No, it's not less dense.
Yes, it is. And there's lift, just the same thing that lifts the air.
No,
the ground.
No, it isn't. It isn't.
How does it exist next to nitrogen, oxygen, hydrogen, and helium? And also, why is carbon dioxide, nitrogen, and oxygen all mixed around evenly down here at the surface of the Earth? Why hasn't it separated out into layers?
Because
it's
dissolved.
And there's a lot of wind.
Dissolvement makes it into one fluid. That's what dissolving does. So it's not going to organize itself into layers.
The nitrogen, oxygen, and carbon dioxide aren't dissolved in each other.
They're not.
They're separate constituents.
So how do they exist as a mixture? Why are they not separated out into layers, and why does water vapor rise when water vapor is a heavier molecule?
The
You mean
the
like why does
mixing.
steam rise out of a pot when you boil water on a stove?
I'm not talking about steam. I'm talking about just
But you
room
are, 'cause you're talking
temperature
about water
water
vapor.
vapor. I'm talking
If you're
about
talking about water
clouds.
vapor, so
You're
you're talking about
changing the
steam.
subject because you're a fucking shill.
Oh,
Okay,
let's
and
go.
I know you are.
Dude.
No,
Keep it civil.
and I want to have a civil conversation.
Well,
So
then
let's have
don't
a
make it
civil
uncivil.
conversation.
Don't make it
No,
uncivil.
you're okay. Sorry, I meant to say you're acting like a shill. Okay, so we're talking about clouds, just room temperature, fucking vapor of water. We're talking about a molecule of hydrogen and oxygen. Why would it ever rise above gas? Why would it ever rise above oxygen, nitrogen, carbon dioxide, all that stuff? What would ever make it want to float up above those, have a more buoyant force? I would love to know what the buoyant force of a water molecule is that would ever cause it to rise and not sink like all the water in the oceans. That's my question.
That's interesting.
Does anyone got an answer to that? Is it gas? It's not gas, is it?
I only have theories, but I would love
I'm
to know
asking-
the actual reason.
Google is saying scientists have measured the water density of typical cumulus cloud as 0.5 gram per cubic meter. What is it? Cloud droplets are about 1,000 times heavier than evaporated water, so they are much heavier than air. They do not fall but stay in the air because there is warm air all around the heavier water droplets. When the water changes from gas to droplets, this makes heat. So I don't know. That's saying
exactly. So how does it stay up there? Even that doesn't explain anything. That's just like saying words. Honestly,
even though clouds
could it be
contain a lot of water,
electric?
This water is spread out for miles in the form of tiny water droplets or crystals, which are small, that the effect of gravity on them is negligible. Thus, from our vantage, the clouds seem to float in the sky. I don't know.
It's an interesting thing, isn't it?
Huh.
But like,
that's very fascinating. But,
and I didn't mean to call you a show.
With airplanes through clouds and everything. So.
Basically, it's the act of condensation, right? So like the water gets heated up off like a lake, and when water is heated, it rises. Steam rises, and heat rises. That's what it does. And so the steam rises up into the sky by the force of the fact that it was heated off the surface of the lake to begin with. And it goes into the sky, and the wind catches it and spreads it out across. And sometimes it all kind of gathers up into one place. And if it keeps gathering it up and it gets as thick as the lake, it'll fall back down into the lake as water droplets.
We understand that once it congeals enough, it does fall down. But why is it floating up there in the first place? That's the question.
Because it was forced up there by the temperature of the surface.
Why does it stay up there? Because it obviously cooled off by then.
Because it gets picked up by wind currents and spread out amongst the vastness of the sky.
It's kind of like
gravity doesn't affect it, or what?
Well, no, it does.
No, gravity's affecting it in the first place. That's why it's buoyancy. When it's being heated, it's being forced up.
Why is it going up just because it's heated?
It's like when there's a bunch of.
Why is it more buoyant just because it's hot? Like hot lead doesn't float. You know what I'm saying? Like, why does hot water vapor float?
It's kind of like, if you're in a dusty room and you walk around and you stir up dust clouds, it's because, like the air resistance that they float around because they're
okay. Why do they float around? Why don't they just sink to the ground?
They will eventually.
Force of gravity.
They do eventually, but
everything that goes up must come down. They will.
So why does the motion of them cause them to stay in the air? Could it be something other than a force pulling down?
It's like the wind, and how like the wind.
How about this? Why doesn't gravity affect things big and small the same? Why doesn't it just pull them straight down like a magnet? Like if I had a magnet and I had iron filings, like as tiny as you want to make them, guess what? They're not going to float above the magnet in any circumstance. You see what I mean?
I suppose if you got like a
I don't know. I've had those little things where you get the pen and the iron filings and you could draw the mustache on the guy. And I've seen it do some pretty crazy stuff. I mean, you're making an assertion about iron filings in a magnet, and I'm not sure I follow you, so I'm just saying.
No, just tiny particles in a force. That's all. Just equating forces.
Gravity puts the same force on everything. Everything has the same force of gravity exerted
so
upon
it should all fall down and separate into its
No, because
buoyant
not
layers,
everything is
right?
the same thing. Everything is not the same thing.
But gravity affects everything the same.
Yeah, it does. It has the same amount of force on everything.
Okay.
It's the same amount of force on everything. Whether it forces it up or forces it down, it's the same.
Yeah, how do you explain like a butterfly flying and then like it's bending, gravity's bending a shitload of water?
An idiot.
Okay, first of all, the water has no way to resist the force of gravity. It has no way to create its own equal and opposite force to the force of gravity. Whereas a butterfly has a muscular skeletal system to which it has its own energy that it can exert itself against the force of gravity. Not to mention the fact that it's designed in such a way to be buoyant and to fly.
It creates a lift with its wings, right?
Yes.
Fair play. Haunted house, are you still there? It's muted.
Yeah. What's going on?
Yeah, we were just talking about urotherapy before. You're the only one that I know that's tried it.
Yeah, it works. It's great. It's great for skin, great for nerves.
All right.
But I couldn't argue it. I couldn't prove it to anybody.
But it fixed my acne.
We should try it.
Yeah, but you need your own urine, don't you? Because it's encoded into your own DNA or something.
My urine should be pretty good. I only drink distilled water, and I eat really healthy. So
that's good. That is really good. I can't fault that.
Well, I use it for nerve, like when whatchamacallit, like on the soles of my feet started to get like numb from from working on hard pavement on concrete, and 5 minutes in like a little bath of your own urine before taking a shower made like the skin respond, like sort of come back to life, turn pinkish, relieve the nerve compression. So it worked for me.
I've tried it in the shower.
As for drinking it, it's, I don't know. It depends on what you're drinking it
You probably
for.
could have just soaked your feet in some nice hot water with some Epsom salts in it, got the same result, and not it had to been disgusting.
But I don't have to pay for my urine.
Epsom salt's not that expensive, but I haven't drank fluoride I've avoided that for over a decade, but I think it still gets into you. Like if you take a hot shower, you're inhaling the water vapor with fluoride, and I feel like I cook pasta. If you cook things,
it's on your skin. If you take a shower, you're getting fluoridated water into your skin, so you're pretty much drinking it, just not through your mouth. You're drinking it through your skin. That's what sucks about taking a shower.
You don't use filtered water for cooking spaghetti? What? Why? Why not?
I don't know. Just because it's kind of I have to walk to the store to get water, and it's kind of a pain. So if I were to just use it in my cooking, like I'd have to go to the store all the time.
It's an interesting psychological phenomenon that so many places in the world don't even have clean water, and they have to walk miles and miles with a bucket on their head to get any. You guys got clean water coming right out of your sink, but it's not good enough because the government's trying to poison you.
Clean or full of chemicals?
Dude, I swear the government is putting chemicals in the water because when you take a shower, you get this like euphoric feeling. I feel like I don't know. I feel like I'm being drugged.
That's normal.
That's nice.
That's because of the running water. It creates electricity.
A shower, a real crappy shower that hardly gets warm, and you only get like 2 little beads of water coming at you, and we'll see if you feel euphoric after that.
Pressure.
Well, any water that comes out of a pipe is going to have some kind of calcium deposit or some kind of shit deposit into it. I just know this from washing cars. Like you leave water spots on your car, and they will leave spots that will etch into the paint that'll go right through the clear coat. Whereas rainwater, you can let that dry. You can let the sun dry
What's the
through
difference
car.
between hard water and soft water, really?
Well, the rain won't leave spots.
Yeah, because it's soft water. Because it's distilled water. Rain is distilled water. It's been distilled by the process of becoming rain. And the water that's coming out of your pipe is hard water. It's got a lot of mineral in it.
But it will
So we should drink
dust.
distilled water, is what you're saying, right?
It still absorbs dust. So it's not entirely pure.
It's funny sometimes when I buy distilled water, like the person's like, do you know that's distilled water? Like there's people that think you're not supposed to drink distilled water. They have no idea what it is. It's funny.
It's funny how it's called infant water.
Demineralized, so
it says you demineralize your body when you don't drink mineralized water.
Exactly.
That's all right, because it's all inorganic minerals anyway. You don't need them.
You can get them from eating vegetables too.
You don't need the stuff you're made out of.
No, you don't need it from water. Not if you get it from food.
Yeah, you get a lot of minerals from vegetables or like
the minerals in water is just rocks. The minerals from plants
that's what minerals are.
Converted.
No, minerals and plants are rocks too. That's what minerals are.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, they're not. They're live. They're alive.
No.
They're organic minerals.
Okay, whatever, dude.
Now, when you get them through plants,
you're such an atomist.
But doesn't exclude just regular rocks being bad. All depends on what's in there, and how pure it is. If it's like radioactive, to what level or what kind of poison. It all depends just on the source and how pure it is. A very pure rock, for all kinds, can be beneficial. So
I love the taste of distilled.
Is it true that the Nazis used fluoride to make their people in the concentration camps more docile?
Yeah. And so did the British.
I thought they used it because they needed to get rid of the fluoride. It was like some kind of waste product, so they just started putting it in the water supply, and that's what they decided to do to get rid of it. And then
that's what they told you.
There were effects after that.
Well, no, that's true too. Like it's there's naturally occurring fluoride, and then there's like this chemical waste that's a byproduct of industry. That's what they put in our water.
They knew it was poison when they handled it. Pretty sure they figured it out very soon. So, yeah.
Because when industry makes waste, they often go to the municipal water supply to dump it. I mean, Jesus.
Yeah,
guys,
wearing suits because of the hazard.
Come on.
Well, have you heard of the mafia, right?
No, that's on record, really.
Yeah, I heard of the government. What about them?
I'm just saying, dude. People are corrupt, dude. It's people. Human beings are corrupt. It doesn't matter what kind of stamp they put, what kind of seal, what kind of badge they got on their chest. They're a human being. They're fucking capable of being a corrupt, evil bastard. Right. And they can ruin anything that's meant to be good for anyone. They can ruin, but with their corruption, individually.
Yeah, what happens a lot.
Yeah,
and there's a lot of fluoridated water in the United States. So it's not fluoridated here, but they do still put other chemicals depending on the region and everything.
Well, I mean, we all know what happened in Flint. So, I mean, come on.
What does that have to do with the...
Because everybody was poisoned by the water supply in Flint. I'm agreeing. It's an agreement. It's like, yeah, I agree. We all know what happened in Flint. Maybe you don't know what happened in Flint, though.
I don't know the exact...
So that's what happened in Flint, Michigan, is they decided to save money by changing where they were getting their water supply from that they were giving to people's homes. But that water was like full of lead. So they ended up poisoning a bunch of people.
Yeah. Yeah, lead.
Long story short.
Right. But fluoridation in the water in the United States is a fact. It's not everywhere. There's groups that are working on it. I think a lot of places have taken it out.
It's weird because my water board is actually required to send me a printout of what's in the water, and I can contest it if I want to, but it doesn't have fluoride listed.
They do it openly. Pretty much.
It doesn't have fluoride listed as something that is found to
Sodium
be tested in the water.
fluoride, hexafluoric hexafluoric acid.
Yeah, there's quite a few counties that don't put fluoride in the water.
Yeah, so I don't think I
Yeah.
live in an area where they fluorinate.
Thank God I live in one and used to also that does not do that. When I found out about fluoride, yeah, when I checked, I was like, oh God, thank you. Thank you. Maybe that's why I'm fucking retarded. I don't know.
Do you use
Maybe
it
I
in your
need more fluoride.
toothpaste, guys?
Fuck no. Hell no. I don't use
Yeah.
toothpaste.
I got Uncle Tom's. It's like fluoride-free toothpaste.
Guys.
I got Infowars toothpaste.
I just use, actually, I use,
Really?
believe it or not, I just use colloidal silver and sometimes baking soda. That's it.
Is Uncle Tom a real toothpaste, P-Mars?
It is, actually.
Right.
Yeah.
No, just Uncle Tom means something else, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, right.
No, it's called Tom's of Maine. Sorry, that was just my racist mind filling in the blanks there.
I think that's why it was questioned. Just saying those.
It's called Tom's of Maine. Sorry.
Tom's of Maine. Oh man, yeah, I heard you on Nathan's earlier talking about the N-word and stuff, and
Yeah.
how it's not.
I don't see, like, I think I don't even believe in races, right? I just believe there's one human race. Like this idea that, I don't know.
Aryans or what?
No, I think all races are there's just because there's the only difference is your pigmentation of your skin. Like if you can have sex,
You mean kind of like hair color?
That's not true.
Yeah, I think there's just one human race. I don't believe in this idea that there's different races of people.
Species? Yeah.
Exactly.
There's a human species, that's right. And they have different hair colors. Oh, and also apparently skin color. Yeah.
I've been reading about these bunch of racist people that push the idea that like black people are better at sports, but white people have higher IQs. It's like it's not really rooted in facts. It's just racist.
Oh, really? So
mean
how
like
about
white
the
men?
athletics department? What do you see there? I think I beg to differ. So it's all matter of results.
Yeah, but what about white men can't jump, dude?
Not white men or just white people?
And I think on that note, I'm going to head out. Thanks everyone for joining us. Have a good evening.